Welcome to Case Files, the podcast where we unpack the stories behind the headlines. I'm your host, Alex. With me, as always, is our lead storyteller, Ben.
Great to be here, Alex.
Today, we're diving into a story from Alexandria, Egypt that is truly chilling. It's a case about a woman who was a master of deception, living two completely separate lives. On the surface, she was one person, but underneath, she was something else entirely, something terrifying.
That's right. This isn't just a story about a crime, Alex. It's about how a person can build an entire false reality and the extreme lengths still go to protect it. It's the story of Nevin and Nahla. Pat's right. Two names, but one woman. Let's start at the beginning. Where does this story kick off?
We're in Alexandria in 2016. In an apartment building in the Camp Shazar district, residents start noticing a terrible smell coming from the apartment of one of their neighbors, a 74-year-old man named Malak.
And Malak lived alone?
Exactly. He was a widower, and his two sons worked abroad. The neighbors realized they hadn't seen him in a few days, and when they got closer to his door, they saw the lock was broken. Something was clearly wrong, so they called the police.
So the police arrive, expecting to find an elderly man who passed away from natural causes?
That was the initial thought, but the scene told a different story. The apartment was a mess, completely ransacked, and in the bedroom, they found Malak. He was on the bed, covered with several blankets. When they removed them, it was obvious this wasn't a natural death. He had a deep cut on his head and clear signs of strangulation. He'd been dead for about 4 days.
So this is a robbery-homicide. The police must have started looking into his life, his finances?
They did, and they found some interesting things. Malak was known in the neighborhood as being incredibly frugal, almost miserly. He spent very little on himself. But the investigation revealed he had a bank account with 2 million Egyptian pounds.
Wow, that's a huge amount, especially for 2016. No one knew he had that kind of money?
No one. And that wasn't all. They found a receipt for a 10,000 EGP money transfer he'd cashed just 5 days before he was killed. That cash was nowhere to be found in the apartment. But the biggest break came when they checked recent police records.
What did they find?
A month before his murder, Malak himself had gone to the police station. He filed a report against a woman named Nevin Hassan Mohammed, accusing her of stealing 47,000 GP from him.
Nevin? That's one of the names you mentioned at the start. So who was she?
Well, that was the mystery. According to Malak's friends at the local cafe, Nevin was the picture of respectability. They described her as a kind, devout, divorced single mother who worked hard as a nurse and caregiver for the elderly to support her children. They were shocked Malak would accuse such a wonderful woman. They were completely fooled by her performance.
So you have this angelic persona, Nevin, who everyone trusts, and a police report accusing her of theft? And the police couldn't find her.
They tried. They ran the name Nevin Hassan Mohammed through every database, but she didn't exist. There were no official records for her. It was a ghost. All they had was a blurry CCTV image from the cafe.
So, a dead end.
Almost. But an experienced investigator had a hunch. He looked at that blurry photo and saw a resemblance to someone else in their criminal database, a woman with a very, very different reputation. Her name was Nahla.
Nahla, the second face. And what was her story?
Nahla was the complete opposite of Nevin. She wasn't a kind nurse. She was a hardened criminal with a rap sheet a mile long. 60 prior convictions, Alex. 60. For everything from theft and pickpocketing to prostitution, drug offenses, and illegal weapons.
Unbelievable. So Nevin was just a character she played.
It was her modus operandi. She created this persona of a pious, hardworking caregiver to gain access to the homes of vulnerable elderly men. She'd win their trust, and then she'd rob them blind. That's what she did to Malak. She stole the 47,000 pounds, and when he filed the report, he threatened to unravel her entire criminal enterprise.
And that's why she went back. It wasn't just about the money anymore.
Exactly. It was about self-preservation. A month after the theft, she went back to the cafe, still playing the role of Nevin, and heard from the regulars that Malak had reported her and told them to hold her for the police if she returned. She panicked. If she was arrested for theft, her 60 other crimes would come to light. Her world would collapse.
So she decided to silence him for good.
That night, she went to his apartment with tools to break in. She smashed the lock, and when he confronted him in the living room, she attacked him, hitting him on the head with a screwdriver. Then she dragged his body to the bedroom and smothered him with blankets to make sure he was dead. And even after that, she didn't just flee. She calmly spent the next hour searching the apartment until she found the 10,000 pounds he'd recently cashed.
The cold-bloodedness is staggering. How did they finally catch her?
They traced her to a chalet she'd rented with the stolen money, where she'd gone right back to her old life of crime. When the police showed up to arrest her, she was completely calm. She looked at them and said, "If you're here about Malak, yes, I killed him." Just like that.
She confessed without a fight.
Without hesitation. It's a truly dark case, Alex. Nala wasn't just a thief or even just a killer. She was someone filled with so much resentment that she felt the world owed her. She couldn't stand to see others living peaceful lives while hers was one of crime. So she created a fantasy to get what she wanted, and she killed to protect it. It's a terrifying reminder that the most dangerous people are sometimes the ones who wear the kindest masks.
A chilling story indeed. The chameleon killer who hid her monstrous nature behind a veil of kindness.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Ben. That's all the time we have for this episode of Case Files. Join us next time as we open another chapter from the archives of true crime. If our listeners were captivated by this story, please show your support. Like this video, subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into true crime, and share it with others. It truly helps us grow and bring more cases like this to light.
We appreciate it.
That's our show for today. We'll see you next time on Case Files.